My boyfriend was kidnapped during a company retreat abroad, and they demanded $2 million for his release. But as soon as I arrived, I was shoved into a van and taken to the kidnappers' hideout. My boyfriend took the ransom money and obsequiously handed it to his superior, pointing at me as he said, "Tony K. Costello, here's the money, and the woman is yours too. Can I go now?" That's when I realized he had lured me here to trade my life for his own. A group of men surrounded me, saying they were going to take turns giving me a welcome gift. I saw the tattoos on the back of their necks and suddenly they looked very familiar. Wasn't that my design? Will Johnson, what are you staring at? Stare again and I'll have the boss gouge your eyes out. Chad Webber roared at me, then turned to a scarred man beside him, bowing and scraping. "Tony K. Costello, this woman is just a cheap bitch who needs to be taught a lesson. You'll have to put some extra effort into training her." I looked at him in disbelief, finding it hard to believe those words were coming out of his mouth. Chad Webber and I had been dating since college, and we were planning our wedding this year. Everyone around us envied us, saying we were high school sweethearts who were planning to get married. So, when I received the kidnapper's message a few days ago, I didn't hesitate to borrow $2 million in cash, grabbed the cash, boarded a plane ticket abroad, and came here to redeem Chad Webber. But I never expected that when I arrived at the designated location, I was stuffed into a van along with the money. After getting out of the van, I found myself in a room in the hideout. And my boyfriend was standing in front of me, safe and sound. Not only did he take my money to flatter Tony K. Costello, but he even pointed at me and said, "Tony K. Costello, here's the money, and the woman too, can I go now?" It was at that moment that I finally understood that he had tricked me into coming here to trade my money and my life for his own survival. I roared with all my might, Chad Webber, are you even a man? For this $2 million, I borrowed from everyone I know, and even took out $500,000 from payday loan companies. You're doing this to me? Are you even human? Tony K. Costello sneered and said to Chad Webber, "This woman is a bit noisy." Chad Webber immediately understood, walked up to me, and said through gritted teeth, "Shut up. Don't disturb Tony K. Costello. I spit on you. You." Before I could finish, Chad Webber raised his hand and landed a slap across my face. The slap was so hard that my face swelled up instantly, and my mouth filled with a strong taste of blood. "Now that you're here, no one back in the States can find you, and you don't have to pay back the money you owe. I'm helping you, don't you understand?" Chad Webber had a look of doing me a favor, which made me want to vomit. "From now on, you'll serve Tony K. Costello well here, consider it me finding you a good way out." "Who said she's going to be with me?" Tony K. Costello walked over and grabbed my chin, forcing me to look him in the eye. The corners of his mouth curved into a lewd smile as he sized me up and down, sneering. "Not bad, such good merchandise should be sold to make money." The henchman next to him grumbled, "Tony K. Costello, it's been a while since the brothers tasted something fresh. Shouldn't we let the brothers have a go first?" Tony K. Costello waved his hand dismissively, "We're all family here, of course you guys get to enjoy it first." Hearing this, my face turned pale. I saw a group of burly men surrounding me, and my hands and feet were tied with thick ropes, making it impossible for me to move. "Don't come over! Don't come over!" I shouted helplessly, tears streaming down my face like a broken dam. "How much money do you want?" "I can give you money. As much as you want." The man closest to me punched me in the stomach, the pain spreading like an electric shock throughout my body, and I instantly lost my voice. "You stinky bitch, looking down on us, huh? Do you think we need money?" Seeing that I wasn't speaking, he grabbed my head and slammed his knee into my jaw. With a thud, I felt dizzy, and the world in front of me became blurry. Looking down, a stream of fresh blood poured out of my nose and mouth, dripping onto the ground. Chad Weber couldn't bear to see me being beaten like this. Tony K. Costello, considering she brought 2 million, why don't you spare her? Tony K. Costello glanced at him. Do you have a say here? Someone, take him to the next room. Chad Weber's eyes widened instantly, and he jumped up and down anxiously. Tony K. Costello, wasn't the deal that you'd let me go once the person and the money arrived? What's the meaning of this now? Tony K. Costello looked at him with the eyes of an idiot. Who said I was going to let you go? No one who comes to this place ever leaves. Chad Weber was gagged and pushed out, leaving only me and a large group of ferocious men in the room. My heart sank to the bottom, and I braced myself for death. But when I looked up, I suddenly noticed that everyone in the room had a distinct tattoo on the back of their necks. And the tattoo design was mine. I am a tattoo artist, and I have tattooed countless designs over the years. But I have a deep impression of the flying eagle and peacock tattoo on the back of these people's necks. 3 years ago, I was traveling in Cloud Creek, Montana. While sightseeing, I suddenly saw a middle-aged man with white hair collapse on the ground. Many people were standing around, but no one dared to approach him. Because I had learned first aid in college and had a first aid certificate, I rushed forward to give him CPR. I had only been pressing for a short while when a large group of burly men surrounded me. I.W. as anxious to save him at the time and shouted, "Don't come any closer. The more people crowd around, the less chance he has of surviving." My words stopped them in their tracks, and a few minutes later, the white-haired man opened his eyes, his face flushed. His people put him in a car, and they forced me into the car as well. I knew then that something was wrong, and I wanted to get out, but there was no way. These people didn't go to the hospital, but to a clinic nearby. After the examination, the white-haired man expressed his deep gratitude to me. The doctor just told me that if you hadn't given me CPR in time, I would have lost my life. How much money do you want? I can give it to you. I could tell they were not to be trifled with, and I didn't dare ask for money. He saw that I was hesitant and asked me, "What do you do for a living?" I said I was a tattoo artist, and he asked me to design a tattoo design for him. Before leaving, he said to me, "Little girl, I owe you a life, and if we ever meet again, I will definitely repay you. From now on, my people will all get this tattoo design. If you see this design, you'll know it's me." I didn't think too much about it at the time, thinking this person was crazy, so I quickly drew a design and left. Thinking of this, a glimmer of hope suddenly arose in my heart. That white-haired man had so many people under his command, maybe he was a small boss here. So, I quickly shouted, "Wait! I know your leader. He has white hair, but he looks very young." My words successfully stopped the men in their tracks. One of the men frowned and muttered to himself, "White hair and very young. Sounds a bit like Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair." The instinct to survive made me forget to think, and I quickly nodded and echoed loudly, "Yes, yes, yes, it's Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair. Call him and ask him if he suddenly fainted in City Park in Cloud Creek, Montana 3 years ago and was saved by a passerby. I am that passerby," he said. "He owed me a life back then. You can ask him if you don't believe me." Perhaps my expression was too serious, or perhaps this Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair had quite a reputation in the organization. In any case, the men around me didn't approach me again. Tony K. Costello, why don't we call and ask? If this little bitch really has something to do with Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, we shouldn't touch her. Tony K. Costello's eyes flickered, and he lazily took out his phone. My heart was extremely tense, staring intently at Tony K. Costello's mouth as he spoke, wanting to know what he was saying. But he was speaking in the local dialect, and I couldn't understand a word. Soon, the call ended, and Tony K. Costello frowned. My heart tightened, and I instinctively felt that something was wrong. Damn it, Marco Mace Rossi said that Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair hasn't been to Cloud Creek, Montana in recent years. You're lying to me. Tony K. Costello threw the phone over, hitting me directly in the face. Blood flowed down my forehead, but I didn't care. I was shocked and quickly looked at the tattoos on the back of their necks again. It was indeed my original design, and I remembered every stroke. Impossible! The tattoos on you. Before I could say more, the group of angry beasts had already surrounded me and were kicking and punching me. Damn bitch, you're playing with us, huh? Who do you think Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair is? Do you think you can know him? You even dare to call yourself Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's savior. Today I'm going to take your life. Their fists rained down on me, and at first, I screamed in pain, then whimpered and begged for mercy. Let me go. Please let me go. You're nothing. You blind thing. Today I'll let you know what happens when you lie to us. I felt like my internal organs were being displaced. My bones felt like they were piercing into my flesh. In the end, I didn't even have the strength to speak, and could only utter a few incoherent syllables from my throat. I don't know how long this ordeal lasted before it finally ended. I lay on the ground, my eyes swollen into slits, and I couldn't even see the world in front of me clearly. Tony K. Costello looked at me with disgust. You guys went too far. Her face is ruined. How can she do pimping? The lackeys next to him quickly said, this woman was never that pretty to begin with. She's not qualified for pimping. Just send her to doing data entry. Whatever, drag her away. Don't want to see her face. I was dragged out like a corpse by two people. They opened the door, and the light outside was blinding, but the sky was still the same blue. I couldn't help but think that just a few hours, or even a day ago, the sky was the same blue. But at that time, I was free and safe. And now I was about to die. After being dragged out of the room, I heard screams coming from the next room. It sounded like my boyfriend, Chad Weber. It seemed he hadn't escaped this den of iniquity either. At that moment, my heart sank into despair. Just then, I suddenly saw a group of people walking by, and the bearded man at the head of the group looked very familiar. In a flash, I remembered that I had seen him in Cloud Creek, Montana. He was the bodyguard of that white-haired middle-aged man. Now, I was even more certain that the person I saved was here. So, with all my remaining strength, I struggled to break free from the two people holding me. Dragging my almost crippled legs, I ran to the bearded man and knelt down with a thud. I grabbed the bearded man's thigh tightly, looking up at him. The taste of blood in my throat kept surging up, and I could only spit out a few words at a time. 3 years ago. Cloud Creek, Montana. I saved someone. Tattoo. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair. The bearded man frowned, seemingly thinking about what I was saying. Then, he suddenly smiled. Seeing him smile, the tension in my heart eased slightly. He recognized me? But the next moment, he kicked me away. Where did this stray dog come from? You got blood all over my clothes. I just changed into this today. The bearded man roared angrily, you two good-for-nothings, you can't even keep an eye on a woman, what good are you? He lost his temper, and the two men who had been escorting me quickly ran over. Marco Mace Rossi, we're sorry, it was our fault for not being careful. They apologized while nodding and bowing, and then each of them kicked me in the stomach. Bitch, what are you running for? You think you can run away? After kicking me over, they stepped on my head. I endured the pain, grabbed their ankles and bit them, and when they loosened their grip, I grabbed the bearded man's pant leg again. He had shown a hint of surprise just now. He must recognize me. Save me, please save me. But my plea didn't earn his sympathy. The bearded man took out the stun gun he was carrying and pressed it mercilessly against my back. After a heart-wrenching electric shock, I lay on the ground like a dead dog, not moving. Damn it, I ran into a tough one. I didn't have any strength to struggle anymore, and I let the two men drag me away on the ground, pulling me to a more distant place. Why did it take so long to deliver a woman? Don't even get me started. This woman is crazy. She keeps saying that she's Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's savior, and she keeps muttering about tattoos, like she's got something wrong with her head. That's right, we ran into Marco Mace Rossi, who is under Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's command on the way, and she ran straight at him like she didn't want to live anymore. But thinking about it, there were so many people in the square at the time. Why did she run at Marco Mace Rossi of all people? Could it be that she really knows Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair? Half conscious, I heard this, and a glimmer of hope ignited in my heart again. I tried hard to open my eyes, raised my head, and said in a hoarse voice, "The tattoo on you, I designed it." Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair said that peacock is your totem. Eagle represents his zodiac. The more I said, the more serious the expressions on the faces of the few lackeys in front of me became. The three of them huddled together, whispering, "She's actually right. Could it be?" But Marco Mace Rossi kicked her away just now. If it was really like she said, Marco Mace Rossi would definitely recognize her. Just as the three of them were arguing, someone outside shouted, "Hurry up and clean up. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair is coming over soon. Don't let Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair see anything unclean." My heart was pounding wildly. This last hope of survival was about to arrive. But the three people in front of me exchanged glances and then took out ropes and tied my hands and feet tightly. They also took off a stinky sock from their feet and stuffed it into my mouth. I was so nauseated that I couldn't vomit, and my eyes rolled back. If this woman really has something to do with Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, then we can't let him see her. Now that she doesn't even look human, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair will get angry, and we'll be the ones who suffer. That's right. We didn't kidnap her. Why should we take the risk? We can't let Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair find out about this. Hearing what they said, the hope that had just ignited in my heart was instantly extinguished. Maybe that Marco Mace Rossi didn't want to save me for the same reason. Just then, the door was pushed open, and a middle-aged man with white hair walked in. That head of white hair, and the unusually young face. It was him, the person I saved in Cloud Creek, Montana. Even though I knew he was also a member of this organization, and possibly even the leader, I couldn't help but burst into tears. Even though my hands and feet were tied together and my mouth was stuffed with a stinky sock, I still struggled desperately. "Look at me! Please look at me! Ugh, ugh! Quiet!" The lackey next to me saw me struggling, grabbed my hair, and slammed my head against the wall a few times. There were a few muffled thuds, and soon, there were a few spots of blood on the already dirty gray wall. My vision went black, and I felt dizzy. I really didn't have the strength to struggle anymore. I was thrown on the ground like a dead fish, and it was hard to even breathe. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's eyes glanced lightly over my face. He frowned slightly, his tone disgusted. "Why is she so ugly? Didn't I tell you, you can't sell people if you beat them half to death?" "Yes, yes, yes, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, you're right." The lackeys nodded and bowed. Marco Mace Rossi, who was next to Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, spat on the ground and cracked his knuckles. "You're not taking Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's words seriously now, are you?" As soon as he spoke, the lackeys panicked even more. "We wouldn't dare. We'll clean up right away." "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, Marco Mace Rossi, you don't know, this woman has mental problems, she needs to be straightened out." One of the lackeys grabbed my feet and dragged me inside. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair took a quick look, lifted his foot, and was about to leave. I knew that if he left this room, then I would really have no chance of survival. So, I used all my strength to kick the person who was dragging me, and he let go in pain. Just when everyone thought I was going to run away, I turned my head and slammed it against the white wall next to me a few times. 3 thuds successfully made Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, who had already turned around, look back. He looked at me with curiosity, seeming to really think that I had something wrong with my head. I met his gaze, lowered my head, and showed him the skin behind my neck. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair still didn't react, and the lackey I kick. Ed came over with gritted teeth. He picked up the iron rod next to him and said through gritted teeth, "Bitch, you dare to kick me? Die!" The iron rod was about to fall, but at the critical moment, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair suddenly said loudly, "Wait." The iron rod was suspended in midair, and everyone's eyes were focused on Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair. He strode towards me, squatted down, and pinched my chin to look at my face. Unfortunately, my face was already swollen like a pig's head, and my eyes were almost slits. He frowned with some disgust, and I quickly lowered my head to show him the tattoo behind my neck. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair finally showed a look of surprise and exclaimed, "It's you. The girl from Cloud Creek, Montana." He finally recognized me. In despair, I shed tears of excitement. I was saved! When he asked me to design a tattoo design, he also asked me where it would be best to put the tattoo. I am a tattoo artist myself, and I have many tattoos on my body. I suggested that he could get it tattooed on the back of his neck. Because I have a phoenix tattoo on the back of my neck. It can be conspicuous when it needs to be, and it can be easily covered when it needs to be hidden. So later, when I came to this hideout, I found that everyone's tattoos were on the back of their necks. I was even more convinced that Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair was the person I had saved. The lackeys asked cautiously, "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, do you know this woman?" Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair slapped him backhanded. "This is my savior. I owe her a life. Is this how you treat my savior?" The few lackeys who had been kicking and punching me immediately knelt down, crying and shouting, "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, we were really wrong. This woman didn't say anything, we just thought she was an ordinary pig. Who knew she had such a background, that she was your person?" Okay, stop talking, can't you see she's almost dead? Hurry up and send her to the doctor. Hearing this, my tears couldn't stop flowing. It seemed that I could survive. With the identity of Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's savior, I should be able to survive. When I woke up again, the doctor had already taken off the stinky sock that was stuffed in my mouth. Because my mouth had been stretched to the maximum for a long time, my jaw was dislocated. But even so, I vomited by the bed for a long time. That sour smell seemed to be engraved in my bones. The doctor held me up. "Be careful, the film just taken shows that you don't have many good pieces of flesh and bone all over your body, it's best not to move now." I lifted the quilt and saw the bruises all over my body, and every time I coughed, every rib felt extremely painful. But I survived. Relying on the identity of Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's savior, I should be able to live, right? In the evening, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair came to see me. He sat on my bed and said to me with a smile, "Little girl, you're quite smart. You knew that I couldn't remember your face, so you deliberately showed me the tattoo on your neck. I'm sorry, my people didn't know their own strength and made you suffer here. But this place is not a place to enjoy life." Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's few words made me feel like I had fallen into an ice cave in an instant. I suddenly realized that I regarded him as a savior, but in fact, he was the originator of this inescapable prison. All the people who hurt and abused me were his people. This was their daily life. That's why he could be so calm and smile as he said these words to me. I swallowed all the words I wanted to say and forced a smile. In a hoarse voice, I said, "Thank you, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair." "You're welcome." Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair raised a smile. "I also want to thank you for the tattoo design you gave me before. Now everyone here has this tattooed." People in other places all say that I manage well, and this design looks good too. Oh! The more he praised me, the more I trembled with cold. When you get better, design some more designs for me. Just consider it stamping my people here. I didn't answer, and Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair continued to talk to himself. Where should I tattoo it? It must be conspicuous. What do you think about tattooing it on the face? I trembled as if I had been electrocuted. I had never tattooed someone's face before. And there were so many people in this hideout. How long would it take me to tattoo them one by one? How would I ever get home? So, I took a deep breath and gave him an extremely ugly smile. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, thank you for taking care of me. I am naturally grateful for you saving my life. But I want to ask, when can I go home? I was tricked into coming here by my boyfriend. He said he wanted me to bring money to redeem him, but I ended up getting trapped myself. Don't worry, I won't say anything after I get out. I'll buy a plane ticket home myself, and I'll pretend that nothing happened. I've given up on my boyfriend too. His life and death have nothing to do with me. I said anxiously, but Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair just smiled without saying a word. He raised his hand to interrupt me, looked at me with a smile, and said words that made my whole body cold. Don't worry, with me protecting you, no one will dare to bully you here in the future. But you also know that people who come here don't get to leave easily. Coincidentally, I'm short of tattoo artists here. Why don't you stay here and tattoo everyone, and I'll pay you a monthly salary. Just consider it working here. Working? I don't want to work here. I absolutely can't stay in this den of iniquity. But I also knew that people at Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's level couldn't easily change their minds. Before leaving, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair patted me on the shoulder. Little girl, work hard here. If you do well, I won't mistreat you. Under the table, I clenched my hands. Thankfully, I had left myself a way out. A few days later, I met my boyfriend, Chad Weber, again. To be precise, he should be considered my ex-boyfriend. I was playing with the tattoo equipment that Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair had bought me. Chad Weber saw me. His eyes were especially red, but his left arm was broken, so he didn't attack me right away. He gritted his teeth and said, "You and I were both kidnapped here as hostages. Why are you living so well? The lackeys outside are all saying that you know the boss here, Willow Johnson. You're really something." I rolled my eyes at him. What good did it do to know the boss? Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair wouldn't let me go, so I was still his hostage. Chad Weber continued to be sarcastic, even suspecting me. Could it be that this kidnapping was planned by you and someone else from the beginning? You deliberately kidnapped me to this hellhole. You ruined my life. Me and someone else plotted against you? I was almost laughed to death by him. It was clearly you who dragged me down to save your own life. How dare you turn around and bite me? The two of us glared at each other, like two wolves ready to tear each other apart. At this moment, there was no love between us, only hatred. After glaring for a long time, Chad Weber suddenly softened his tone. He approached me, putting on the gentle look he used to have when we were in love. "Baby, I was wrong. I apologize to you, okay? You have to believe me. I was really forced to. If I had any other way, I would never have used such a way to hurt you to save my own life. And I had already thought about it at the time. As long as I escaped, I would definitely find someone to save you. You're only trapped here temporarily. You and I have been in love for so many years. Don't you have any trust in me?" I sneered. Chad Weber, do you even believe what you're saying? You'd go out and find someone to save me. What if they ripped up the ticket? If I lost my life, what would you use to save me? As I was saying this, Chad Weber suddenly pounced on me and hugged me tightly with his good arm. "Baby, now in this hellhole, we can only rely on each other. You have to trust me, give everything to me, and we can escape." Just as I was about to break free from his embrace, he suddenly whispered in my ear, "There are cameras everywhere in this room. I have some secrets to tell you about how to escape from the kidnappers." In order to go back home, I had to endure the nausea in my heart and let him hug me. He whispered in my ear, "I've been watching these past few days. This is an abandoned factory, and they're a gang that specializes in kidnapping people. And they're very organized and disciplined. It's not easy to escape, unless you find the time when they change shifts." I listened very carefully, wanting to collect as much information as possible, so that I could be prepared when I escaped in the future. But as Chad Weber was speaking, he suddenly started kissing my ear. I was startled and shouted, "What are you doing?" His hand tightly hugged my waist. "Will Johnson, I miss you so much. These past days since I was kidnapped, I've been thinking of you every day. Can I kiss you? Can I hold you? The people here are so mean to me. I don't get enough to eat or wear. Only thinking of you can help me get through the days of torment." Chad Weber's hands became increasingly excessive. I screamed and gave him a slap. Chad Weber, are you crazy? You just said there are cameras everywhere." Having been slapped, he finally revealed his true colors. He grabbed my neck and slammed me against the wall, saying fiercely, "You ungrateful bitch. I'm being nice to you. We've done it so many times before. What's one more time? Let me tell you the truth. Marco Mace Rossi said that as long as I record a video of you and me, you'll let me go back to the States. It's best if you agree now, but even if you don't, there's nothing you can do." His hand tightened around my throat, choking me until my face turned purple. I kicked his legs alternately, one kick hitting him right in the groin. Chad Weber cried out in pain, clutching his wound and jumping aside. He glared at me viciously. "The only reason you could kick me away just now is because we used to have feelings for each other, and I didn't really hurt you. Wait until Marco Mace Rossi sends someone else, then see where you can run. If you know what's good for you, just cooperate with me. Marco Mace Rossi doesn't want to kill you, he just wants to keep a video to control you. Can't you make this little sacrifice to go home?" His words were all about Marco Mace Rossi's idea, and I didn't understand when I had offended this person. And back in the city park, he should have known that I saved Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's life, but when I asked for help, he chose to stun me with a taser. What deep hatred do I have with him that he wants to kill me like this? Facing Chad Weber's roar, I sneered. "I never realized you were such a shameless person. I came all the way here with cash to save you, and you sold me out. Now you want to force me to film a video and still pretend to be so righteous, saying you're doing it for my own good. Chad Weber, I really underestimated how thick-skinned you are." My kick was really hard and accurate, and the color on his face became a kaleidoscope. Chad Weber leaned against the table next to him, his whole face twisted into a ball. After he recovered, a commotion suddenly broke out outside. Someone shouted, "The cops are here!" Hope surged in my heart, but Chad Weber's face was very ugly. The door was kicked open, and Marco Mace Rossi, looking like a fierce god, stood outside. He pointed at me and said to Chad Weber, "Take your woman and come with me." Chad Weber, like an obedient dog, grabbed my hair. I wanted to struggle, but he kicked me in the knee. He knew that I had an old injury on my knee, and even a cold breeze was unbearable, let alone his kick. I was almost dragged out of the room by my hair. Everyone in the hideout looked extremely tense as they pushed their respective hostages toward another secret hideout. A burlap sack was put over my head, and the world went black. After the sack was removed, I found myself in a basement. A few cold-colored flashlights on the wall illuminated the place in a ghastly white light. "Kneel!" Marco Mace Rossi shouted, kicking my bad leg again. In excruciating pain, my knees buckled and I fell to the ground. White-haired Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair sat in front of me with his legs crossed, looking down at me. The friendly pretense was gone from his eyes, replaced by cold indifference. Marco Mace Rossi said, "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, this woman must have led the police here. We were hiding so well, but the police only came after she arrived. And as soon as she came, she said she was your savior, wanting everyone to know you have a bad heart. She's insidious and should be killed." A cold dagger was pressed against my neck, and I cried out in fear. "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, I'm innocent. I don't know anything. I was tricked into this by Chad Weber. I'm just an ordinary person. I don't have the guts to do something like that. I wouldn't dare even if you gave me 10 times the courage." Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair stared at me for a long time, his eyes as sinister as a viper. After a long while, he waved his hand and said, "It shouldn't be because of her." Marco Mace Rossi said impatiently, "Whether it's her or not doesn't matter. Just kill her and throw her aside." Saying that, he threw the dagger to Chad Weber. "Your girlfriend loves you so much that she came all the way back in the States alone to rescue you. You should repay her kindness by sending her to the afterlife with one stab." Chad Weber's face was also pale with fright, and he stammered to Marco Mace Rossi, "Boss, I've never even dared to kill a chicken, let alone a person." Taking advantage of his words, I crawled a few steps on my knees towards Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair. "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, you can suspect me, but you have to give me a reason, right? You promised me before that you'd let me make a living under you. If this charge of betrayal isn't cleared, I won't be able to stay in this place. You certainly don't want a hidden traitor under you, do you?" Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair stared at me again, then suddenly smiled. "Our hideout has always been well hidden. The police haven't found it for years, but these days, drones with weapons are bombing us right above our heads. I now suspect that you have a police locator on you." I straightened my chest. "If you suspect me, just search me directly." Marco Mace Rossi said dismissively, "We already searched you. If we had found anything, do you think you'd still be alive to talk?" I immediately said loudly, "Since you didn't find anything, why do you still suspect me?" Marco Mace Rossi stared at me gloomily. "Because in this place, we usually hide the good stuff inside our bodies. I told Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair a long time ago to just cut you open, and everything would be clear. He hasn't agreed yet, thinking of the favor you did him." I was so scared that my body swayed, and I quickly begged Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair for help. "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, spare my life. I can do tattoos, and I can draw designs. Don't you love the tattoo design I made the most? I can draw more. I'll accept any other examination method, as long as you spare my life. You can use a metal detector to see if I have any metal on me." Marco Mace Rossi shouted, "Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair, she's just a woman. Killing her will save us trouble." The two of us argued so much that Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair finally couldn't bear it anymore and waved his hand. "All right, she saved my life. How would the brothers on the street see me if I killed my own savior? How would they follow me in the future?" I looked delighted and knelt on the ground, kowtowing to him. "Thank you, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair. Thank you, Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair." The hideout was discovered by the police, and Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair moved his men and all the hostages to another underground hideout. But it didn't last long. Soon, police dogs barked at the dirt pit at the underground entrance, and they were discovered again. This time, there was a fierce shootout. After a 3-day, 3-night standoff, the police finally successfully destroyed this inhuman, tragic hideout. Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair himself was shot in the heart by a sniper from afar. Before he died, he stared at me with turbid eyes. "It's you. It must be you." I smiled slightly at him, said nothing, and just saluted. The kidnapping case involving hundreds of people was finally solved. I helped up the seriously injured Chad Weber, who in turn supported me, also covered in injuries. The colleagues saw that we had completed the mission and rushed to meet us. When we arrived at the clinic, Chad Weber, lying next to me, couldn't help but ask, "Where did you hide the locator?" I swallowed it. Swallowed it? Then what? I closed my eyes, not wanting to answer his question. The medical staff separated us, and the doctor almost burst into tears when treating me. She looked at me and murmured, "It's really not easy for you to be a hero. I heard that it was because you went deep into the kidnapper's hideout and gave the police the most accurate location that they were able to destroy this man-eating hideout." I shook my head. I'm not a hero. In fact, I am not a hero, just an ordinary person, and Chad Weber is not. My real boyfriend. I did have a boyfriend of many years, but he was kidnapped and killed by Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair's people many years ago. The most regrettable thing in my life is that I couldn't save him. So when the police contacted me and asked me if I was willing to risk trying to infiltrate the hideout, I agreed without hesitation. The life-saving incident in Cloud Creek, Montana 3 years ago was a carefully planned event against Uncle Raymond Ray Sinclair. And this long-standing fuse was finally ignited 3 years later. My dearest person, I think he can finally rest in peace.